But like, let's get down to business here. So we spoke to you last week. You went public. Well done, 250% increase. But let's see how that goes this week. You also released some numbers around your resource. So tell us about that.
Yeah, no, we were very happy. Again, we've been drilling since September, and so the resource results were the 12th largest nickel sulfide resource globally. The nice thing for that in terms of technically what's there is we've talked about this higher grade core showing up in the drilling, and the nice thing is from a resource perspective, there's a higher grade core running right through the middle of it. So again, Dumont's the closest comparison, and so this higher grade core, we've got 260 million tons out of 900. That's basically about 15% better than Dumont, and then we've got some additional grade shells, and we've got about 100 million tons at 0.34. So again, the key thing with that higher grade core is that when you go to get this into production eventually, is that if you're able to mine that material first, that means just a lot more cash flow right out of the gate, and that just helps the economics, and helps you run the business.
Well, yeah, for sure. So I guess you're going to have to work out: are you going to be able to mine that first? And you'll presumably be working on that over the next few weeks and months. But what is? I mean, and also some pretty big numbers out, right? So what does that actually mean? I mean, how should investors interpret that? What's the, I hear the numbers, but so what? What does it mean for me?
Yeah, no, the key thing, again, because a lot of mining companies just like add ounces or pounds, for the sake of adding ounces or pounds. No, for, the key thing here, and what I said the other day, is in the market today, particularly, is you see, companies that have elephant scale projects that can attract, major mining companies or attract, downstream partners to come into it. So, those, a lot of companies in Colombia and Ecuador right now, with copper and copper gold discoveries, being a nickel sulfide project of this scale, I believe right now in the market we're in for EVs and the majors wanting to get exposure to battery metals, that kind of a scale deposit should get BHP's attention, should get Teck's attention, if they want to get meaningful exposure to battery metals, nickel, and the quantity of cobalt that we have.
But what do you mean? You talked about elephant hunting before, but where are you in the scale of things? Give me a sense of is this like number one in the world or in the top 100? What?
Yeah. Right now, depending on what, we're basically around the 11th largest, and we've only explored, that's off less than 20% of the structure that we have at Crawford. So, we think we've got, potential to make it larger. And again, where we're going to focus is on those areas where we've seen, the higher grade, the higher grade. And so we're going to take the what we learned about where the high grade is at the one place we drilled off and see if we can find some more of it. We've got some ideas in terms of where that may be sitting in the rest of the structure. And so, because again, we added, the thing I'm also quite proud of is our team added that resource for about $1 a ton. You literally, because the scale of most nickel sulfide deposits is quite small. Yes, they're high grade, but you don't find many tons for a lot of drilling. And for a lot of companies, they're spending literally almost $1,000 a ton to add resource and reserve.
Is that an extreme example, or what's the sort of average?
No. I would say, I think in Western Australia, you're looking at hundreds of dollars per ton, of exploration costs to define resources. So again, because they're trying to find little small nickel lenses, that might be today quite deep. So you're drilling, again, you might be drilling 500-meter holes, 800-meter holes, hoping to hit 10 meters of massive sulfide nickel, where we, get to drill a 500-meter hole, 450 meters of it, have assays that end up in a resource model.
Right. Okay. So that's going to give you again, we're all, as investors, we're all going to be interested in at what point do you start being able to, and I know it's early days, but what point do you start being able to put some numbers or thoughts around the economics of this? So I'm hearing it's large. You're finding, in terms of the contained nickel sulfide, 11th largest in the world. I mean, that's pretty good straight out of the gate. It's cheap, but at what point does that start converting into meaningful numbers for us as shareholders?
Yeah, so that's the key. I mean, what we wanted was again, we wanted to work this on an accelerated time frame, given our understanding of this type of deposits. And so, this resource and the results we have, are of the scale and again, of the potential that we're going to move that resource right into PEA stage. I'm literally meeting today, with one of the leading engineering firms, to start scoping out, to kick off that work. And we'd look to kick that off in April and have a, PEA done, for the fall, for this coming year, which again, we'd roll right into a feasibility study from there. So, again, from 6 months from drilling, we're going to be able to start putting, putting numbers around this, which is is very fast.
Okay, and how quickly you mentioned the feasibility study as well, and clearly, but what's your time frame on that? Because people start, the more you do, the more notice people take. And when you say accelerated time frame, I'm interested in, do you mean it, or is this the usual long drawn out process and you guys are?
We're talking 6 years from now, hopefully not. Yeah, project, because it's in construction. Yeah, no, we're looking to, we'll have the feasibility study target would be the end of 2021. Right. And then a 2-year build from there. So, that's the time frame, we're going to be working towards.
Well, you can get, you're suggesting there that you could get financed off the back of a feasibility study.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, in the kind of market we're in now, and the market we're expecting for battery metals, when you have, the head of BHP saying, we need more future facing metals, we need more nickel and more cobalt, I think when we get to that point, we should be seeing the interest from the major mining companies and the industry downstream players.
Okay, that's pretty big statement. So you're saying end of 2021, you could have a feasibility study ready. You will have been having and would hope to conclude financing discussions around that point, is what you're telling me? Okay. And then there's a two-year build out. So you when you say accelerated, you do mean accelerated, and you're hoping to hit this cycle. But there's a lot of ifs and buts between now and then, obviously, right?
Oh yeah. Nothing's guaranteed in this space, but again, my view is we're going to be hitting a nickel super cycle sometime in the mid 2020s, right. And so we want to make sure that we're as ready as possible to take advantage of that super cycle.